Okay, in this video we're just going to take a quick look at the 2.1mm jack Condor Blue cable that runs to DCC17 dummy battery, and this is going to work on a Panasonic Lumix S5, S5 Mark II, S5 Mark II X, GH5S, GH5, GH6, G9 and the new G9 Mark II. So it works with a lot of Lumix cameras. I use this both on my GH6 and my GH5 as well. And I've left the packet out here just to show you exactly which one I'm using, because there are a couple of different versions of this cable and you'll need to make sure that you get the right one. So if you're going to get this cable, you might not be able to quite see that, but it's the DC 2.1 to Lumix GH6 S52 and S52 X, and it's the BLK22 version. So just be sure to get the right version, otherwise you might end up with one that doesn't work. So what this allows you to do is essentially take the jack from an external battery. So not all external batteries will have it. So like this one here, this is a Lumix 99 battery, and I've done a video about it. I'll link it up in the corner. But this battery here, it's a USB dummy battery, and also it's a dual D-tap, so it's got a D-tap both sides. And for that type of battery, you'll need the D-tap version of the Condor Blue, or any other kind of dummy battery, BLK22 to D-tap. I like to use these ones because I just find that they're the best kind of quality ones that I've come across anyway, and I'll link to this specific version up in the corner of the video. But in this video we're looking at the 2.1 jack version, and that will work with things like the I've got here the small rig VB99, and you can kind of see on the top we do have we've got the option for D-tap on the side, but we've also got the on the top we've got an 8-volt port and a 12-volt jack port. And with this particular cable, it's going to support between 12 and 17 volts. So what you'll find is, if we pop out the battery from the bottom of my camera, put in the dummy battery, so that's all you're doing, what you'll find is there's actually these are my preferred cables, because you can take this part, it's got a locking connector in the middle, and then once it's unlocked you can break it apart, put the thread into the bottom part of the battery door, so you can actually feed that out, push the dummy battery in the bottom, and you're actually able to close the battery door again. You've got a slight gap there, but you know, it's certainly much better than having to have the battery door open. So once you've attached that back together, it's just a case of reattaching this. And then this cable here, it's a 16-inch cable. You can kind of stretch it in and out. It's quite a neat cable. It's pretty nice. And then once you've got that, what we can do, I'll just show you what does and what doesn't work. So like I say, it's a 12 to 17 volt input. So if you try and put this into the 8 volt output on the small rig, it's going to light up like it's going to work. But then when we hit the on button on the camera, you can see the screen's not lit up, nothing's happening. So what we'll do is just switch the camera off, just give it time to power off, even though it didn't power on properly, but just give it a second to sort itself out. Pull the jack out, and then if we put this into the 12 volt port, you'll see again the screen is giving the power reading. But then when we switch that on, you can see we've got power to the camera, everything's working as it should do. And I've also left SSD recording on just for this, so I can also show you. I don't have an SSD mount, so it's going to be a little bit messy, but I'm just going to plug in the SSD drive. I'm just using the Samsung T7 Shield I'll link to a video up about that in the corner, the one that I use and why. And what you'll see, we've got, through the SSD, we've got all our recording modes, so there's no capped recording modes here, so we can use our jack with that, and we've got, you know, no drop in recording mode, so you can use 100 frames a second, whatever you like really. Anything that's available over SSD is available through this setup. So it's quite a neat setup, you know, for this kind of V-mount battery. If you want to free up your DTAP for something else, if you've got another thing that you want to power through the DTAP, whether it's an external recorder, could even be another camera, you know, whatever you've got running out, could be a light, anything. So it gives you just another option and a bit more flexibility. So it's quite nice with that one. And I personally quite like to have that flexibility. So, you know, I've got my DTAP version of the cable. I've got my 2.1 jack version of the cable. And for external power, it's, you know, it just gives me different customization options for whatever rig I'm using, however I'm filming. And you know, none of this is you know, recommended by Lumix. They don't recommend external power options. You kind of do it all at your own, you know, it's all at your own risk. But I've kind of shown you there that, you know, you can use it, at least with this small rig setup. And this cable, I'll link to the cable, I'll link to the battery and everything in the description, but you can kind of see it there working. So yeah, hopefully you found this helpful. If you have, give the video a like. If you want to see more content like this, then please subscribe.